unfortunately, we're not all fictional characters who have copious amounts of money to spend on really nice dresses and good coffee in the best cafes and bars, and so we actually have to try and maintain some level of financial stability so that we can actually get by and make some money, but also save the very little money we have so we can afford to actually live in New York City. Hey cuties! Thank you so much for coming back to my channel. As you guys know, I've been living in New York for 3 months now, and those 3 months I've been unemployed, so it has been a little bit of a struggle. If you saw my last video, you'll know that I finally got my green card. Yay! So that means that our income will be a little bit higher, so I'm very excited about that. But in the meantime, we were using a bunch of different tips and tricks to help us make our money stretch. As you guys all know, New York is such an expensive city, and I thought I would share the little tips and tricks that I've gotten along the way to be able to do the fun things in New York and not go broke, because it's surprisingly easy to go broke in this city. And so there are 3 main things I want to talk about: what you should bring in the first place, how to make money, and also how to save money. So if you guys end up enjoying this video, then please like and subscribe, and feel free to comment down below if you have any tips and tricks, because that's rude, because I'm always trying to find little ways of saving that coin. So I already made an entire video about apartment hunting, which kind of addressed the amount of money that you should be bringing with you when you're looking at apartments and also trying to secure an apartment. But just a quick refresher if anyone wasn't able to catch that video, at the very least, you want to bring your first month's rent, last month's rent, and usually 1 month's rent for a security deposit. Sometimes they'll only ask you for 2 out of these 3 things, but it's always good to have a little bit more. And that is not including whether or not you're looking at an apartment that has a broker's fee. And the broker's fee could be 1 month's rent, which is a little bit more typical these days, but I know that before the pandemic, people were doing 8% or 3% or 5%. So definitely ask a broker ahead of time, what is your rate? What do I have to pay you at the end of the day, so that you can bring that money along, because otherwise that could be a couple of $1,000s that you're trying to scramble from somewhere. Anyways, moving on from that, what else should you bring, right? Because just because you have your apartment doesn't mean that you're done with the emergency money. And that's exactly what it is. So I would really highly recommend that you come to New York with at least some sort of financial cushion that you can use to set yourself up, but also just in case something happens. Maybe your phone breaks, maybe your laptop breaks, maybe there's another medical expense that you have to pay for that was unaccounted. Definitely have an emergency fund. And this is really going to vary person to person. So for me, wherever I've gone, whether I was single or as a couple, I've always tried to have saved up 6 months of my rent. For us right now, 2,000 times 6 is $12,000. So we're always gonna have $12,000 sitting in a nice little savings account somewhere. Just in case something happens, we can rely on that. Try to figure out, based on your rent, your income, your other expenses, how much this should be so that you can always have this amount of money there. Anyways, that's kind of the boring stuff out of the way. One of the biggest things I want you guys to know is that moving to New York is an amazing experience, but once you get here, just like any other major city, you don't want to be stuck all day in your apartment wishing that you could be somewhere else. And trust me, I definitely felt that back in December when Theo and I both didn't have jobs. Don't just think about moving to New York as simply being, I need to be able to afford groceries and an apartment. Moving to a city like this means being able to go to museums, being able to go off to a cocktail date, or being able to go shopping for maybe a nice outfit every couple of months. Whatever it is for you, you want to be not just surviving in New York City and getting the essentials done, but you also want to be able to thrive here and have fun. Let's talk about how we can get some of those things to happen while still trying to be within our financial means. The biggest thing about being able to do those fun things is budgeting. Now, budgeting is not one size fits all. That's why you should definitely do your research and figure out what you do, because we're all individual and we all spend our money on different things. I personally use this website called Mint Intuit. I'm not being paid by any of the random things that I mentioned today. I'm just telling you because this is what I do and I found it really helpful. As someone in the early 20s, I think finances are so hard to try and manage, and so I just wanted to share some of the things I've been doing. Anyways, that aside, Mint Intuit, it's this amazing website where you can hook up all of your bank accounts, so savings, checkings. Basically, it tags all of your transactions. So at the end of the month, you can see how much money is going to food, like groceries, how much money is going to bars and restaurants, how much is going to rent, how much is going to random other things like bills and medical things. What this gives you is a picture of your financial life. This is a really great tool and has personally really helped me figure out how I can cut back and what areas of my life it seems that maybe I could be making smarter decisions. This also prompts you when you have bills coming up, so you'll never really go late on your credit card because you'll be able to see that the bill is coming up. I don't know guys, I would highly recommend this app. I think it's just amazing at breaking everything down in a way that isn't scary and is really easy to understand. When it actually comes to setting your own budget, my personal advice is to try and trial it out first. If you already live on your own, or even if you live at home and you're preparing to move out on your own, I think the best thing to do would be to use an app like this, or just, you know, make a spreadsheet and write down what you're buying and figure out what are my overall expenses, because there's absolutely no point moving somewhere, setting yourself really unrealistic budgets and then getting really upset because you set yourself up for failure. Try and figure out already, how much do my groceries come out to on the average week, or how much money do I spend going out if I go out every weekend or every month or something like that. There's no point in severely restricting, and so I would say that if there are categories like grocery and rent, those categories are essentials and other categories might be non-essential for you. So try to figure out what things can I not compromise on and what things should I compromise on if I notice that my spending is getting a little bit out of control. Now, I would just recommend first off that you get a job before you come to the city, or at least allow yourself to have a little bit of a financial cushion for the first month if that's when you're going to be looking for a job. That is just the responsible kind of big sister in me trying to tell you that this would be the best thing to do, which I know is rich coming from me given that I'm unemployed and now I'm looking for a job. But at the same time, there are a bunch of side hustles you could do to help you make some cash so that you can spend that money maybe on the fun things. So the first side hustle, which is pretty obvious, is just retail. Places like Trader Joe's, Starbucks, Target, Michael's even, all of those kind of shops are always hiring because New York is just such a huge city that there's such a rapid turnover. If you're looking specifically at a certain period of the year, there might be seasonal jobs that you could apply for. And so I know that Trader Joe's is pretty quick. Theo applied to Trader Joe's back in December and he heard back in 1 or 2 days, got interviewed and got given the job all in a space of a week and a half. I would say definitely consider doing this if you don't already have a job, because then you can be making some money and setting yourself up for success whilst you wait for the other jobs that you're looking for to come in. The next big one is tutoring. I'm gonna leave a bunch of websites down below. This is the way that I've made my money since I was in college. It's so easy, and the nice thing about tutoring is that there's so many online options that mean that you don't even have to go anywhere. One that I use a lot is Ringle. So if you've gone to a university and you want to teach people how to speak English in a professional and natural way, this is a really great platform because you set all of your own hours. You could work 0 hours one week and 40 hours the next week, and the pay is pretty good. So definitely check out a link in my description box if you want to find out more about that opportunity, as well as a couple of other tutoring companies that I've heard of through friends who use them who really enjoy them. There's also in-person tutoring. So things like SAT and ACT tutoring are always hiring at quite competitive rates. And if you have even more specialized skills, think about the kinds of things you studied in high school, AP this and AP that, then maybe you could offer to tutor those things and find forums online where you can post yourself as a tutor so that others can reach out to you and you can make money whilst teaching people, which I think is just a lovely thing to do. Other things that you could do is provide a service. For example, babysitting, being a nanny, walking the dog. All of these kinds of things are things that people need, especially in New York City, to just maintain their lives. Because a lot of people here are not even working the traditional 9 to 5. These people are grinding, okay? They're working like 12-hour days, sometimes even more than that, and they need people to help out around their lives. So definitely check out some of those jobs. I would say Craigslist is a good place. And also there are a lot of specific Facebook groups. There are also specific organizations that you can use that vet people on both sides so that you know you're going into a safe situation and you're not putting yourself at risk by publicizing yourself online. The last thing with many cities is restaurants and bars. This is a great place to make tips. And tips are a really good way of making money because, as we know, minimum wage is insanely low. Usually you'll be working at a time that might be outside the traditional 9 to 5, and so it could be quite flexible for you around your work schedule if you already have a full-time gig. Okay, and now to the fun part of the video. This is the part that I get really excited about because I love talking about how to save your money. It's almost been like a game for me because when I was in college, I honestly didn't spend a lot of money because I was just really nervous, you know? I grew up first gen, low income, so I always wanted to save my money. And now I've found that I can actually enjoy my life and go and do fun things and still be saving money in the process. The first app is called Seated, and a friend actually introduced me to this app back when I was in Boston. And what this app does is it basically pays you to go out and eat. At least that's what it says in its ads. Basically, you go onto this app, you make a reservation, and you can find restaurants in your area that are offering rewards. So they'll give you somewhere between even as low as 5% to as high as 49% in money back. All you have to do is go to dinner, order whatever you want, and then take a picture of the receipt. They'll give you that reward percentage back. Personally, we've been using this to explore maybe once or twice a month without breaking the bank. The other nice thing is that this applies to dine-in, pickup, and delivery. So you have so many options to choose from. So just check it because I've been surprised at which restaurants have actually been included on Seated. The next app is Ibotta. Ibotta is another app that gives you money back. Ibotta has a web extension. And so what they do is they basically have all of these different retailers, and I'm talking about big names like Amazon, Sephora, all of those kinds of shops. And when you go online and you have this extension downloaded, it will tell you if the price is the best at this shop compared to other shops for specific items, but they'll also give you money back. And this can range again from like 2% to 5% to 10% to 15% and beyond. And this came in super clutch when we were buying furniture because, as you guys know, furniture can be really expensive, but we were able to make back hundreds of dollars just by using this extension. And the nice thing about Ibotta is that they send you the money through Cash App. So you actually get cash. You're not just getting coupons or vouchers to other random things. A newer app that I've discovered is called Pulsed NYC. It's been such a great way of, again, exploring all of these different places around me that I've never heard of before and that I want to try. But they basically offer vouchers, and a lot of the time the vouchers will give you savings of 50% and above. For example, Theo and I have made a reservation to go to this taco restaurant for bottomless brunch and endless tacos, and for both of us it's $49 where it would have been $92 without this voucher. And so it's kind of nice. You just go on this app, you purchase as many vouchers as you want, and it tells you when they expire. All of the vouchers that we're purchasing now expire in July, so we have a while to use them up. And I know I mentioned restaurants, but they also have this for spa, beauty things, events in general, other kind of fine dining experiences, but also just experiences in general. Another tip that I have is to order your essentials in bulk. 15 minutes in New York can feel like a lot of time when you're lugging, you know, bags and bags of staples. And so what we have been doing is ordering our staples in bulk from places like Walmart so that we can get the best deal possible, and also just have them around so that we don't have to be bringing them into our apartment every single day. Especially if you live in a walk-up building, this is going to be really good for you because you won't have to be carrying bags of rice and boxes of toilet paper up 6 stairs at the end of the day, which can be really tiring. I really like Walmart because the Ibotta extension applies, and we always end up getting, I think it's like 5% back, which kind of stacks up over time. Another thing that I would do, especially if you're moving to New York City, is to get the ID NYC card. This is so easy to apply to and get. Okay, I just grabbed my card because I just got it in the mail, but this is my ID NYC. It's also just, look how bad I look, guys. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I'm the kind of person who photographs absolutely horribly in any of these kind of like card things. My passport looks so bad. This looks really bad. My green card looks really bad. Everything just doesn't work out for me. But anyways, this card is amazing because you can get free 1-year memberships to so many different galleries, museums, etc., etc. It gives you discounts on fitness things. It gives you discounts on City Bike. And if you're living in New York, get it so that you can experience those things without having to fork out money every single time that you go. These are just a couple of the things that we've been doing to save our money. I hope hope that this video is helpful because I know that finances can be really scary, especially when you're moving to a major global city like New York. Things are expensive, I'm not gonna lie, they are really expensive. Costs do add up. I already made a video about how you can make over your apartment on a budget. The apartment tour is definitely pending, but these were just some of my tips for how you guys can make some money and save some money. Leave a comment down below if you have any tips, and definitely like if you liked this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!